Hey guys. Okay, so this week's video is a bit of a different kind of video. It's got like a bit of a more business flair to it. What I want to do this week is, as they say, give you a peek behind the curtains and share some insights that we've gained recently from a survey that we sent out to some of our key clients on our social media. Now, there's two key reasons that I thought I'd share this information with you here today. First and foremost, I am forever analysing businesses, trying to question, what do I think they're doing right? What do I think are the opportunities for improvement and all of that sort of stuff? Because then I can turn the mirror on myself and I can ask myself, what can I learn from those feedback, well, not those feedbacks, what am I trying to say? Those observations, that's a better way of saying it. Those observations, how can I improve my business? Because let's be real, let's be honest. My business is not perfect. It's a constant work in progress. I like to think I'm doing an okay job, but there is always opportunities to improve. So yeah, I thought, hey, why don't I share some of the things that I've picked up on in my own business this week in case it helps you guys in terms of turning the mirror on yourselves. And then number two, I'm hoping that I can get some more feedback out of you guys. So I can share what I've picked up on so far. I can share some ideas or thoughts that are kind of starting to, come together in my mind. And then you guys can basically come back to me and go, yep, we think you're on the right path. Or, oh no, have you considered this? Or what about this type thing? So that when I do actually sit down properly and consider all this feedback in detail, I've got some more information to consider. So, like with last week, I have written myself a bit of a cheat sheet here because I want to make sure I stay on track. Unfortunately, I do fear that the number of points that I've written down here means that it's probably going to go over the 15-minute Instagram limit. So I'm probably going to have to break this up into 2 videos. We'll see how we go. But let's start things off. So first things first, 2 things that I want to cover off at the very start. When I've mentioned this survey to a couple of people, they've instantly and rightly said to me, why don't you just look at your analytics? Like, why on earth don't you just go into Instagram there and check about viewing times and all of that sort of stuff? I wanted to make sure that I pushed past the vanity metrics, the general noise, all of that sort of stuff. And I wanted to understand what our key clients were thinking, feeling, what they wanted and all of that sort of stuff. So I wanted to make sure that any business decisions I was making was going to really get bang for buck when it came to building design professionals and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's why I didn't in the first instance go straight to analytics. It also allows me to ask more detailed kind of questions, get more detailed information that you can't get from the analytics. And then number 2, just to kind of set the scene, I want to explain what the 3 key reasons are that we actually do our social media, or put so much effort into our social media, I should say. So first and foremost, the very first reason our social media accounts ever started back in, I think it was 2018, was to help me improve my efficiencies in my emails. So I think I've said to you guys previously, I receive literally 100 to 150 emails each and every day on average. And the vast majority, I'm going to suggest maybe 90% of those emails, just off the top, pulling a figure out of my backside, 90% are inquiries. Now, those inquiries can be very repetitive inquiries. Everyone thinks their property is unique, but at the end of the day, when it comes to character houses in particular, I can tell you what most people are going to do. They're going to demolish the lower level, raise the house to 9.5, enclose under the core, put a carport out the front, extend to the rear, do internal modifications, maybe put a gatehouse or a pool at the front and the back, etc., etc. Like, it is very repetitive from a town planning perspective. Yes, there are a heap of different variables to consider, but at its core, it's repetitive. So I found, way back in 2018, I was like, how do I overcome this problem? Like, there's only so many hours in the day, I only have a certain amount of energy, etc., etc. So what I decided was to create these videos to answer frequently asked questions. And then when it comes to emails, instead of typing out these massive, boring, long-winded emails that no one wants to read, I could be like, hey, unfortunately, I don't think council's going to support that proposal. Here's a video that explains why that is. Boom, insert the link. I don't need to go through all the information. They get it in a more easily processed kind of format, etc., etc. So yeah, that was the initial reason for starting the videos and therefore our social media accounts, and that still remains the number 1 reason today. Like, you will hear me so often in our videos, I'll say, hey, this question came up twice in 1 week, boom, it meant that we had to do a video on it. Because that's literally how most of my ideas come about. If I get a question that comes up more than once, it's just an alarm bell. The universe is saying to me, here is your next video topic. So yeah, people often say to me, how do you come up with all of these video ideas? It is literally the questions that are coming into my inbox each week. So yeah, that's the number 1 purpose. The number 2 purpose is, I don't like being the bad guy. Like, everyone jokes, and I'm happy to take it, but everyone jokes that I'm the killer of dreams. Like, I'll be out on site and people will be like, okay, now Peter, it's your turn to crush everyone's dreams and step in and give us the reality check. That is a massive part of my job. There is only so much of that negativity you can take. Like, as I said, I'm happy to take it when I'm on site, but I'm always actively looking for ways to kind of reduce those negative vibes and turn them more into positive vibes. And I find if I can actually educate people about how town planning works, why it works in that way, all of that sort of stuff, it leads to more positive engagements. So best example, and it's still stuck with me to this very day, came about a few years ago. I turned up to a property at Bulimba, walked into the property, and I'm like, oh no, I can see it's pre-1911. I can see we've got this issue, and this issue. So I walk in, I sit down with the client, and they start talking. I'm like, okay, unfortunately, I do need to tell you, I do believe, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, I do believe this house is pre-1911, comes with pros and cons. Unfortunately, the con is, and they cut me off instantly, and they're like, oh yeah, we thought you'd say this. We saw your video about a month ago where you talked about this topic. We've done a bit of research, we've confirmed it is. So we've already come up with a plan B in case you would say that. And I'm like, here I was thinking I was going to have to go through this massive explanation, deal with the denial phase, then the angry phase, and then all that sort of stuff. But instantly I'd take them through the videos on that journey already, and they were in a mindset or a position to go, okay, let's start working on the plan B. Let's start moving forward. So yeah, the videos have proven, that's just one example, but the videos have proven time and time again that it helps to educate people, prepare people, manage expectations, and in turn make my job more enjoyable and make me less of the bad guy, basically. So yeah, that's reason number 2. And then reason number 3 is visibility. So I am forever sitting here going, or let me start again. People are forever asking me for referrals for different specialists. Like they might go, hey, have you got an engineer or a structural engineer you can recommend here? And so often, especially for the more obscure professions, I'm sitting there going, yep, who was that person I spoke to a couple of weeks ago? Oh, they were really good. Like, I really liked how they did this. And I'm forever like, Kim, okay, so it was this type of inquiry. I believe it was Bulimba. I believe there were a blue logo. It was this. Can you help me find it? So annoying, so frustrating. And inevitably, a lot of the time I go, unfortunately, I can't remember anyone. So no, I can't recommend anyone. So for me, if I've put all that hard work and that effort in to create a good lasting impression on you guys, I want to stay front of mind. I want to make sure when you're asked or people are asking you for a town planner, you're like, yep, I know who I can put forward. So yeah, by doing the social media, it helps me to stay front of mind for situations where you are asked for a recommendation. Side comment, totally unrelated, kind of related side comment. Building designers and building design professionals out there, if you're using Charlie, that is the best way to stay front of mind with me because I'm constantly processing and checking those reports as they come across my desk. So yeah, I tend to, and I only realized this the other day, I was like, why am I referring or giving out these names more often than other ones? And I realized it's because I'm seeing their names come up time and time again, almost on a daily basis, if not a weekly basis, for the Charlie reports. So yeah, building design professionals out there, if you want to stay front of my mind, start requesting the Charlie reports. Okay, so that is the 3 key reasons as to why we do the social media. So now that I've kind of set that frame, let's look at what questions we asked in this survey. Now, I am going to post the survey as a link in our link in bio, so you can go there and check it out yourself. And by all means, I'd love to encourage people to go fill out that questionnaire. Now that we've got the core audience, I'm going to open it up and just go, any of our social media followers, if you want to add your comments, go for it. And like I said in the beginning, it's going to give me an extra layer of information to consider. But we covered questions from things like, okay, how or do you actually follow our social media? What platforms do you follow our social media on most? Side comment, a couple of people said they still go to Facebook. We lost access to our Facebook page due to the HACKERS. I still know I do not pronounce that word because then the bots absolutely spam you. But yeah, we lost the page over a year ago now, year and a half ago. So I was very surprised to see people actually still go there to get content. I intentionally am not checking out that page because I'm like, oh, if someone's posting stuff to our page that I have no control over, I will cry. So I'm like in this ignorance is bliss kind of world at the moment. I pretend the page doesn't exist. But anyway, side comment, that was something that I was like, oh, I didn't realize people would still be going there. Anyway, questions about, like I said, where are people going? What time of day do they like to, or what situational scenario do they like to view our content, I should say. Which of our themes do they like most? So is it our 60-second daily videos, our maximum 15-minute weekly videos, our suburb profiles, our TP dangers, our et cetera, the list goes on and on. It was like, okay, out of all of those content themes, which ones are you drawn to the most? Then it was questions like, okay, would you... I'm drawing a blank right now because I don't want to get into the other content too far. It was like, give us ideas, all of that sort of stuff. So now that we've covered off what questions, like I said, you guys can go check it out yourself by clicking on the link in bio to go to the survey. Let's talk about the 10 key takeaways. Now, this is the juicy sort of stuff. So first and foremost, we're on the right track. So if you look at our engagement, let's just say when it comes to our social media, you'd be like, guys, why are you wasting your time? Like, no one is engaging with you. No one is enjoying this content. Like, I had a friend the other day, she looked at her video count and she's like, why are you bothering? Like, that is a low number. And I've always just known instinctively, yes, it's a low number, but it's quality over quantity. It's our key audience that are absorbing it, which if we go back to our key reasons for doing the videos and the social media generally in the first instance, it's hitting the mark in terms of what we're trying to achieve. We're not out for vanity metrics. It's the best way to say it. I don't need numbers, I need quality type thing. And Kim, she's always on my case. She's always just like, oh, why don't we do a poll? Or why don't we do like a Facebook Live, or not Facebook, sorry, whatever the Instagram version is, Instagram Live Q&A type session. And I'm like, no way, Jose, I am not going there because I am going to look like an absolute idiot because no one engages with us. Like if we put a poll up or ask a question, we're lucky if we get one person writing back. And I think it's because it's a very... what's the way to describe it? It's not an anonymous environment on our page. It's a small industry, tight-knit industry here in Brisbane. So I think a lot of people know each other and maybe they're embarrassed or afraid to put their opinions out there or comment in a way that someone they know can see them type thing. Whereas with other pages, potentially it's like, oh, I'm anonymous, I'm commenting on Kim Kardashian's page and she'll never see it, no one I know will see it type thing. Like, I don't know, maybe that's the reason people don't engage. If anyone actually has any thoughts on that, by all means, don't feel like you have to put it in the comments or whatever. Feel free to just reach out through direct message or email or phone call or whatever. I'd love to know, why do you not comment on our stuff? Because yeah, there is a whole world of extra content there where you could tap into, like I said, with polls and all of that sort of stuff. But at the moment I'm holding back from that because I'm like, oh, it's 12 minutes. I am definitely going to have to do 2 weeks, spread this over 2 weeks. We are going through it too slowly. Okay, so yeah, basically I'd love to tap into all of that extra content. Okay, so yeah, but what I found overwhelmingly through the feedback was it was so positive. So yes, there was a couple of things that I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take that on board. I'll learn from that feedback. But overwhelmingly, it was really, really positive, which just reinforced to me, I'm doing what I need to be doing. We're on the right track. I need to block out the vanity metrics, the engagement, all of that sort of stuff, because it's not actually a true representation in terms of our goals and what we're trying to achieve. Okay, next is, this was a really funny one. Okay, so one of the questions I asked was, what do you think about our frequency? I can't remember how I worded it, but basically, what do you think of our frequency of posting? Is it like we're desperate for more? Is it just the perfect amount? Or take a chill pill, guys, you are just too much right now type thing. And I honestly thought we would get a lot more people picking the chill pill option because I feel like I am posting so much out there. And it's not like it's a burden on me in terms of creating the content. Like literally when it comes to those daily videos, sometimes I can pump them out in 15 minutes, like 15 minutes start to finish from, okay, let's sit down and write some notes about what I want to talk about in these daily videos, to recording them, to sending them off to Kim to just be like, okay, now it's your chance to edit it. That's a good day. Some days it does take me a lot longer because that 60-second limit is painful. It is so hard to keep to that 60-second limit. There is so often where it gets to 60 seconds and I'm like, I'm halfway through my last sentence. Crap, I've got to find a way to cut this down and condense this information. So yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But the point is that it's not a massive burden on me in terms of time, but I feel like in terms of the amount of real estate I'm taking up within the social media feed and all of that sort of stuff, it could be overwhelming. But yeah, I only had 4 people out of everyone we surveyed come back and be like, yo, take a chill pill, guys. Like, calm down. You're just too much here. But I think the reason for that, the biggest reason for that is that people are just not seeing our content. They don't know what's out there. So it's not a case that we aren't posting too much. It's that the algorithm and all of that sort of stuff isn't actually giving people the information. They're not seeing it all. So yeah, that was the second point. Now, number 3, how am I going time-wise? 14 minutes. No, I'm not going to get into the next one because I'm going to run out of time. So let's wrap up this week's video here. Next week, what I'll do is cover off points number 3 to 10, and then I want to share what I'm starting to think about in terms of where we go from here. So what ideas have I got? What thoughts are going through my head? And then, like I said, I would love it if you guys can give me another layer of information to process so that I can make sure we're really hitting the mark as best as we can in terms of our social media going forward. Okay, let's wrap it up. As I like to say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got 3. Number 1, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number 2, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number 3, what was my number 3? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all.